Alan, it's a difficult game against teams like West Wales when you know that they haven't won for a long time. They turn up today and they've only got one interchange. How do you keep the players focused? Because supporters expect a big score. The players can get carried away a little bit and go ahead of themselves and think that they've won the game before they actually cross the whitewash. So what do you do to bring them down to ground?
Well, we focused more on us this week, and we did minimal video on West Wales as well, and that's no disrespect to them, but we needed to perform and set some individual goals like we always do, in some team goals, and we really focused on achieving them. And like you say, it is difficult, especially when you score in your first two sets. It can then easily, go into dropping intensity. And I thought at 24-0 we dropped a little bit, and being a bit picky, and obviously conceded a try. But I thought that we only really a 10-minute period today where we weren't at the standards that I expect. I thought we were really good, some really good transitions, some really good tries as well that we scored, and some good goal kicking as well. So there's plenty of positives today, and we're free rested, players to come back in, and also a lot of movement during the game, and some of those younger lads had a run out and showed us a real glimpse of the future for Hunslet as well.
We've been struggling for a steady half-back partnership. Does a game like today give you that platform where you're probably your first choice ones, having not been playing together for quite a lot of the season, gives them a chance to actually run training ground runs, and again, it's difficult against the West Wales side because it's maybe a bit like an opposed training session. But do they get some confidence out of that? Yeah,
100%. You've hit the nail on the head, and it is game conditions, and they're probably a bit unorthodox as well. Like the way they defend, someone might shoot a line, someone might stay back, and they're very unpredictable in how they defend. So it's it's better than training, if you like, because training we can say, you can defend like this or defend like that, whereas they're throwing different things at them defensively. And like you say, those two, the senior halfbacks, and Dave and Gibbo's not playing at the minute. Dave Gibbons, through no fault of his own. It's just we're going with those experienced halves at the moment. Going into the back end, and everyone's training well, and those two players need to perform. And I thought they did today. And like you say, we was able to put some plays on under pressure and do some things under pressure in the game's condition, and we should take confidence from that as well.
It did show towards the end of the game again, West Wales tiring a little bit, but there were some good movement for the tries that were scored, and some players starting to really put their heads up and try and bust tackles, and then looking for offloads, which is probably something that's been missing for a lot of the season. But there was some good rugby at the end, wasn't there?
Yeah, and I feel it's a accumulation of what we've been working on in training, and we've been building to this, and we need to do it next week and going into the playoffs, and it usually takes 3 or 4 weeks to cement things, and we can only focus on certain things throughout the week. We have a short time with them, it's semi-professional, so we don't have the luxury of a full-time environment where we can focus on one thing one day, one thing the next, and then do it all together the next day. It's little bites, if you like, as you go, drip feeding it in. So we've worked on our attack and our shape and our offloads, but we've also got focused on our defence as well, and I feel today was the first time it's come together. And like you say, we're not going to get carried away, and that's no disrespect to West Wales, because credit them, they keep turning up and they're committed, and like you said, they showed some good commitment at the end, and they played till the 80 minutes, and they played within the right spirit. But for us, I'm pleased that we're doing the things we practice, and we're doing them under pressure, and some players are really showing up now. I'm really pleased with how some individuals have gone over the last few weeks. I think Joe McLean's a good example of that. He's been playing left back row, he's not played there all year, and I feel he's getting better each week, and there's lots of other examples across the board as well. So the buying into what we want them to do, but now it becomes a new competition. We've got Worthington next week, and we want to go there and get the points, whether it's a dead rubber or not, and then we're into the playoffs.
You mentioned earlier and touched earlier that you changed the side around a little bit, and some players were rested, but you also had a midweek disciplinary hearing which took another player out of it. So again, are those players fit and raring to go next week, apart from obviously Bish, who's suspended?
Yeah, so Rowie and Kiddie need just to play in the middle all year. They got bashed up, they've not really had much of a rest, and training's been quite intense as well, and they go hard in training, so they've been intense sessions, and Wayne as well. So took the opportunity to give them a rest, but not only give them a rest, to have give opportunities to other lads that, Lewis Ray's not put a foot wrong, Harvey Hallis, I know he's been in the last few weeks, but those guys deserved a run as well. And Kai, who missed out last week, scored a hat-trick, so it probably makes me go away with a headache on selection next week. We'll be going with our strongest side possible. Just on Bish, I don't want to go into the complications of the case. Just he's a great lad, and I thought we handled the case very professionally, put in a really good case, and the evidence didn't support what happened to him, but the club's been really good for him and the players, and we'll all get round him, and he's a good lad on and off the field, and he's got my backing as a coach and the club's backing as well, and that's good to see.
Well, congratulations again. Different kettle of fish next week up at Workington. It's not a place that we have a happy hunting ground, so hopefully you can bring a bit of a new back to it, and we can come away with some points.
Yeah, it's always tough going to Cumbria, but that's what we're here for, aren't we? Records are there to be broken, or hoodoos, or runs of games, defeat. So let's go there positive and put in a good performance leading into the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks.